I kill something.
Boom.
Y'all acting like y'all.
Kill someone with acting like you real and shit. Radical sevens are cracking the clavicle. When you as collateral. Stand on your feet because these bitches will bury your criminality bleak. Illuminati. Red pick of Illuminati, here's ball. My C-search is fucking couple. Stand by and watch them robbers. The fact that they put me under. Better not get caught in the under. My nigga, we can't lose. And bucket they new crew. That's what we gotta do. Oh, you got revenue? Money can't save a fool. Just another funeral. Man, for some better days. Huh? Slow down. Steady. Hello, Keith. Well, I gotta go. I see real niggas ride, huh? Made me cold on the inside. Yeah, swallow my pride. Stick to the G code. Ain't supposed to fight. Ain't supposed to die. Charlie, doing a damn on. Oh, my bad. You know, I ain't.
Them niggas coming, bro. The bitches ain't playing, nigga.
You ain't got that song new. All this shit over here. All my shit locked in this bitch.
Oh, watch your step. Wow, your attic is so dark. I know, right? It's the perfect place to stream horror movies.
What
movie is that? I haven't pressed play yet. AT&T Fiber with All-Fi covers your whole house, even your really, really creepy attic turned home theater. Jimmy, what have I told you about scaring our guests? Get AT&T Fiber with All-Fi and live like a billionaire.
Limited availability. Coverage may require extenders at additional charge.
Look at it out. Look at that. Get my West Coast shit right here, my nigga. Diddy on her.
She up, nigga. I'm talking about. Lay back, nigga. Mixtape King. Strap, nigga. Yeah. You's a motherfucking actor, slash rapper. You know, motherfucking factor.
Biggest, man.
I'ma go hard, I'ma trap hard, so you niggas do a burger bar. Sitting in the car, cutting up some hard, I'm paranoid. So we know the bird hard, you none avoid. My squad don't stay clean, so the fiends, 0.5 for 15. Turn crumbs into bricks, man, hustle me. You's an actor, nigga, try to sing. You's a rapper, acting like GB. Stay property, nigga, you ain't getting no cream. I ain't cute, I give a fuck about a good day. I got that all place with them gold flakes. 24, chopping back to 28. Go with that fuck shit, introduce you to this king. I want you to meet this bitch face to face. Don't say amazing
What the
grace.
fuck y'all doing up at 3:10 in the morning, 4:10 in the morning, shit, man?
Slash rapper.
You look down there on fed shit, huh?
We some certified trapper. And we
Trap hard, so listen to some trap boy. Nigga, you ain't a D boy. You the decoy. Like you're trying to be a B-boy. This AK will make you deploy. You don't want to fuck around with the G, boy. Man, you niggas ain't working with the work. I'm finding up the perk, getting twisted off a verse. One verse. It could be worse, but I'ma chill though. Cause you putting up the fight, you ain't got the skrill for. Big boat, like I got a banana boat.
Africa, copper-colored tribes of America.
Sitting up for that shit up there.
So, Common, thanks for being the troll of the day. We get one every time. Don't worry. You know, you fit the role. We appreciate that. We love our haters. And then Seal and Maine has St. Michael. It's a church in Germany. Alright. Here's the inside.
Society 2 cents.
Yo, Comment, check out the
What's
drums.
he doing now?
Check out the drums.
Oh, this was my old video I was using. Okay.
Slaying the hijack. Don't come with your hijack. Prove your theories. We got Americans here. We got Americans here on the left. Next to Europeans. Americans, so-called Negroes, Aboriginals of America, painted here, right? aboriginals. This is how they painted themselves. Bonaparte murals.
Bonaparte, Mexico.
Why did the Mayas paint themselves so dark?
Them old
Oh, they're always in ritual, right? They're always painting themselves dark because they're ritual, right? Welcome to the classroom. It's free. Take advantage. It's perfect. You got a free classroom. You over here creating static.
Listen,
Alright. So,
church right there in Germany. This is Bonaparte, Mexico.
Talk that life. Let them know
What fine Jew? Word.
And again, this was America, Europe, Africa, and Asia. Right? So Africa and Asia over here. And America and Europe. Alright? America and Europe. So-called Moreno, so-called Negro,
So-called
the
mulatto.
American Indian, the Aboriginal, in his royal attire.
Fine Jews in the building.
Not naked, not savage.
I'm gonna go find that pope that look like Sylvester Stallone.
This is America. Yeah, this is painted in 1761. Show me the slave ships. Show me the slave ships. By Johann Peter Hurley. I'm still waiting. What's taking y'all so long? In-housing, Dutch Assumption Church in Germany. Big leagues over here. If you really want to come over here talking about you know something, you gotta bring facts and proof over here. You must not know this channel. We don't just talk here. Business for you guys. We trying to build here. We take this seriously. Alright? America. This is why we take it seriously. Because these are the Americans. Alright? And you've been telling us all our life that these are Africans that came on slave ships. When we realized that the Spaniards and Portuguese were enslaving American Indians that looked like this. And then they were bringing them from the Caribbean, from other parts of Central America, South America, even from other parts of North America. They were bringing them to these plantations, to their encomienda system, to the departamiento, the indentured servitude. And then switching you up, calling you a Negro. Because Negro was synonymous with slave at a point. Negro was synonymous with slave. Go fact check. You got so much knowledge, but you don't fact check. You got so much knowledge, but you ain't trying to verify the info we present. What kind of scholar is that? Talking about, I don't want to get influenced, I'm not trying to watch your videos. What kind of scholar says that? Who's been out for 20 years supposedly, teaching. We on to you. The gig is up. America. The land of the colored tribes. America.
America, nigga.
They're like, what's up? You see them? They're like, what's up? What up? What's up? What's the problem? What's the problem? What's the problem? What's the problem? You never seen an Amadu Khan? What you looking at? You got nothing to debate. Oh yeah, look up. Yup. He's like, is that Americans? The guy down here, he's like, is that Americans up there? They're looking up like, yeah, that's them right there. And they're like, what's up? Yeah, that's us. Remember us? Remember we brought corn? Science, math, remember that?
Science, math. Remember?
Remember remember we were separated from you guys for hundreds of years? They're like, oh yeah, that is them. Yeah, that is them. Oh, now we remember. Asia right here.
And I'm a full phenotype.
Who's the real Russians? Who's the real Mongols?
And I'm a full phenotype. You can play to everybody about phenotypes and know what's going on.
Europe.
Niggas will be talking to them.
Europe. We definitely brought potatoes
Canadians,
over there.
the Brits,
Wait, you thought it was Irish?
Canadians.
You thought potatoes originated in Ireland? Man. You'd be surprised when most of the food originated in the world. Well, actually, you shouldn't be surprised by now. Rottenbach, Deggendorf, Visitation of the Virgin Mary. This is a church in Germany. Amara Kapan. If it was named after him, they would have used his last name.
So I'm just, I just woke up, so I'm fresh. I'm just sitting here looking at this shit, my nigga. Yeah, hit that bitch.
They don't use first names. They call Colombia, right? They don't call it Christombia or Christofombia, Christoland, right? Last names. British they use last names. It would be called Pushyland or something like that.
Canaan beach land that I be
the
telling you
kingdom
about.
of America was already existing here when the Spanish got here. Check out my video on that.
Canaan in America, ain't no goddamn Canaan over there, no motherfucking
current
Israel,
real
man.
history here in America. If you're new to the channel, take the time. I hope I don't sound too cocky at times, but sometimes we gotta know how to dodge that hijack to right. Asia, Europe, Africa, and America. So America all the way at the right, right? America all the way at the right, right?
You niggas.
And then Africa and America, right? So let's zoom out a little bit.
Where the slave ships at? Oh, can't call that. Y'all can't call that Nile River and fucked us up.
I see like a dragon now. I see clearly. Do you know the etymology of dragon? Do you see clearly now? So this is the African and this is the American. Alright. You want to be one people? You want to be just, you want a tribe of, from different continents? That's all good. That's all good. Respect to all the aborigines of the planet, of the plane, right? Let us remember, let us reclaim, let us, with our own scholars, our own people, teach our history. Don't dictate our history from a different continent, from a different place. Don't dictate history. Research. Show me your census record that says you're an African. Find one slave ship. One real slave ship. I'll wait.
Can't find it.
I'm talking about that hijack they recently came out with in Louisiana or wherever they were saying. Do you even guys know the investigation behind that? Like, it's just nonsense. Alright? So, this is an American on the right. And this is an African on the left. Alright? Both so-called Negroes, right? And this is from 1763, Franz Ferdinand Dent. So, Goffingen, Biedebach, St. Nicholas Church in Germany now. Now let's see what they're hiding in here.
What they hide in the Vatican? Oh, we need to know. Up under the Vatican. That's where I see that. Bitch. That's where I see that. And over there and got down the east. Fuck the Middle East. I'm talking about Far East. Far East. You got that Mongolian got a lot of our shit. That's why they leading technology. They feeding our technology back to
left
us.
to right says Asia, Europe, America, and Africa. So let's see. So America and Africa. So one of these two is America and Africa. Both copper colored. Either way. And this is from 1763 by Franz Martin Cohen. Right? And now, guess what? This is the end of volume 7. And we're going to continue to volume 8. Is that okay for everybody if we continue to volume 8? Alright. Just bear with me. Just bear with me while we set it up.
Uh-oh. Bonham Park. Room 3. That Mexico. Them niggas to my Incas and all that shit, man. When the Incas. Them over Italians. Them over them motherfuckers. South America is the West. South America is the West. Yeah, South America is the West. It's the Western world here I'm talking about. South America. Yeah, that's that tip on that globe. That 11.5 tip that bitch. Yeah, Christopher Columbus coming west like he's supposed to be coming west. Not down west. Coming over here to the west. Yeah. But we in the north. We northwest. That's the north. We're north. The western world he's talking about is South America. They always know the western world. It's not South America. All good shit. Brits are Canadians. The Brits. So, our America. What's this like? I'm not here. Our America. That's my name for this shit. Same thing the European did to Africa, the same thing the motherfucking British did to goddamn America. Thought you was asleep, bitch.
Tell him. Come here.
It's Corona your ass.
Dad, look at you eat. Dad, up there.
So
I was saying the Western world. I was saying the Western world was South America.
now we're gonna. This is the Baint Ravensburg assumption.
We in the north, but it's flat. We in the north, northwest. The North usurped us. Canada usurped us, but the Western world is South America. Though Christopher Columbus headed out west from Europe, so he headed west down. Well, on the globe is down towards South America. South America is the Western world.
And now we got America.
They behind the real old world. It's the old world over here.
Alright.
Mesoamerica, Mexico, South America. That's what I was saying, Keith. That's why the oldest mummy in the world is South America. It sound muffled. It shouldn't sound muffled on my phone.
So America. Alright, then we got Africa. And then we got Asia.
All the cocaine comes from South America. Everybody got cocaine in their system. All over the East, they got cocaine in their system. Europe.
So again, the American.
Japan, all of them got cocaine in their system, but it come from one place, South America. Come and get that coke, baby. I got that.
And this from 1764. Now with the Hohenhanu, Rosenheim, SS Peter and Paul Church in Germany.
Oh, okay. I probably need to talk loud.
And to the right we have America.
I ain't got no microphone,
Then
all
we
the
have
little good
Europe,
shit.
Asia, and Africa. Alright? Yeah, thank you. Love my family. That painting was from 1765 to 1774 by Johann Michael Hartwagner. Now we're at the Will and Kaiserstuhl and Medingen. This is a big garage, whatever. Don't know, never heard of that building type. That's in Germany as well. Some of you probably know what big garage means. Alright.
Aries.
So America. Then we got Africa. Then we got Asia.
Mongol. Oriental.
And then we got Europe.
Europa, the bull. With the media crime.
This was from
Fuck you get that from, dude?
1766. Johann Pifuna. And then we're at the Dillingen, St. Michael Church in Germany. With another cemetery outside. So it says left to right. Europe, America in the bottom, right here, and Asia to the right.
That thick ass globe. They got to keep that ball in there. They gonna put your head on that ball. And put your head right on that water ball. Fuck your whole life up.
So Africa and America. And this is from 1766 to 1768. And now we're at the Salem. Assumption Church in Germany. So now we got America on the left and Africa on the right. We got America and Africa.
Yo.
Do you notice the long straight hair on Africa? Got Europe and Asia.
Europe and Asia. Big ass continent in the mountains. Europe and Asia. No land. No land. Europe and Asia. Motherfucking continents. Ain't no continent. They ain't in the mountains.
Alright, so this is Africa and Europe, and then we got America and Asia right here. Spain. By Johann Christian Thomas Wink. With the Bogenhofen diligently the Old Testament says Assumption Church, Germany. Oberstenton, the Holy Cross, this church in Germany. Left to right, Europe, America, Africa, and Asia. Alright, America. America.
Well, when I'm always up on a nigga, man. throw it on,
that's
Brown.
you right there. Alright? And then they got the African right here. This is the African.
Fine nigga for real. Hey, Miss Jane. How you doing, Miss Jane?
In Asia. So this whole time, you've been calling this guy an African. And then you said that he descends from a slave only. Alright, this was painted in 1770. The artist unknown.
I'm doing good, Miss Jane.
Now, we're the Deacon Schönberg in St. Anna Church in Germany. Let's see what they're hiding in here.
Let's see what they hiding, huh? Can't hide no nigga.
The yucca, the manioc. Yeah, we got yucca. Is that what you mean? The vegetable? The root? Yeah. Definitely does originate here. Many foods originate here. You'd be surprised what I'm saying.
Many foods
I
originate
invite
here.
anybody who hasn't watched my corn videos. I have 4 videos on corn. These are pretty old, but they're really good. I mean, it proves this is the old world. We had corn, nobody else, and that's what helped civilizations basically become, get settled, rise, because they had corn.
Oh, okay. Your first time going to
corn's all
New
over
Orleans?
the Bible. Don't tell me that's wheat.
Down over the
We already
the Gullah Wars there.
That's what I say.
The Nile River flow all the way down to
Maybe if you want the
Louisiana.
facts.
Louisiana Purchase. Go on down there and see New Orleans. I hope you have a good time.
How can you eat raw wheat? But you can eat a raw sweet corn. Actually, in the milky stage is the best time to eat it. The sweet corn. Right from plant. Alright. What do we have here in Germany? What you been hiding here in Germany? Alright. You're gonna show us, right? Alright. So, we got from left to right, America, Africa, Asia, and Europe. America and Africa, side by side. I hope you're ready. In my hand, sword and machete. For these devils, I'm uniting rebels. Knowledge of different levels. I'm a real soldier. Take all your medals. Raiders in the street, dodging bullets during summer's heat. Revolt to my physical retreat. I'm in another zone. Create the cyclone. The soul you'll never own. Sun is the highest. Purple gets me the highest, Oh, I keep it real, man. Shit. Being Town 617 all day. 20 years I lived in Being Town. From kindergarten all the way to adult, past high school. Alright? Rough neighborhoods. I went to some rough schools. But I was with my people. That was the most important thing. I was with my people. Hawa knew why he brought me over there. Hawa knows why he brought me to Boston, to be with my people. Amongst my different people, my different tribes. That's the benefit of living and growing up in the States, is you meet people from all over the world. Compared to when, in Costa Rica, you don't meet, you meet tourists and stuff, but it's not the same growing up, because you don't grow up with the tourists, right? Yeah, Being Town, 617, Dorchester. I grew up in Dorchester, all over Roxbury, Hyde Park, Fields Corner, the whole Fields Corner, Bowden Street. That was all my people, the Cape Verdeans, and, so-called Cape Verdeans, we dodging the hijack. Alright, so again, this is America and Africa. So let's continue. This is from 1770 to 1771, Joseph Christ. And we're the tasting. It says in Jengnuin and Albuen, this is a church in Germany. Let's get the flutes. Let's remember the ancestors.
Mongolian and Persia. No, Persian and goddamn Greek. Persian and Greek, my bad. Alright. So, for all of those who just got here and started right away, acting in their nature. They can't help it, I know. They can't help it. I actually know the person who created the PDF. He actually reached out to us. You missed the whole story. You're like 2 or 3 weeks behind. But I'll tell it to you again. For everybody who might have just joined and are new. So we got a brother from Canada, from the NAAS of Canada. He licensed these pictures from a German photographer who took the pictures. These are real pictures. I don't even know what you're debating. Like, you can go visit these places, right? If you don't believe it, right? You gotta prove it, right? So how would you prove it, right? The only way you can prove it is by going all the way over this Germany, finding these buildings, and going to take the picture yourself with your smartphone. Be a little smart with your smartphone. Alright,
Alright, so again, thanks a lot to the brother who put this PDF together for us. Alright? We don't just have PDFs. So, let's go back to something real quick. Alright. Now, Bonham Park murals. Let's go to all. Discovery of the mural paintings of Bonham Park. Right?
Bonham Park.
Now, we just,
Mexico.
randomly, I mean, you can do this yourself. A 2-year-old can do this. Google and type, right? And then you can verify the info and the sources if you like. Alright? We've already pinned on that. Alright, so the classic Maya site of Bonham Park in the state of Chiapas, Mexico. It's best known for its mural paintings. The murals cover the walls of 3 rooms in the so-called Temple de las Pinturas, Temple of the Paintings, or structure. Alright? Different website, we got some of the images inside. Again, you might have missed this before you came with your static. So, today we're just correlating. If you don't know what that means, today we're correlating on what we already know to be true. Alright, we're just showing more correlation, which is that in Europe, they also painted you, or the Indians, just like they painted themselves in Bonham Park, alright? So, this painting was from 1774 by Franz Anton Seeler, alright? Now, you have the ability to go ahead and, research this person and see if this is real or not, alright? The burden's on you to prove it, not us. Mulhdorf am Inn in St. Nicholas. This is a church in Germany. And this is the ceiling. And just to be clear, America and Africa, right? America and Africa. What's up with these dogs barking at us? What's up with this dog trying to bark at us? When the Spaniards came, so-called Spaniards, they brought dogs with them. The beast. Wild beast. The beast. These were really crazy dogs. If you haven't seen my Shallot and Anubis video, Anubis in America, I showed what kind of dogs these were. And these were some, bigger than pit bulls and stuff.
Horses originated in
Scary
America.
looking dogs.
America's the old world. South America's the old world. Mesoamerica's the old world.
Alright, so again, America and Africa, copper-colored tribes of
One world
America.
order right here. We
And
got to
this was
tighten up.
Europe and Asia. Europe and Asia. And now we're at the Kranzig Maria Opferung Church in Germany. Alright, and see, we got, alright, so it says left to right, Africa, then Europe right under him, Africa and Europe, and then we got Asia and America, Asia and America, okay, Asia and America, hold up. Alright, take a good look. Take a good look. Take a good look. To all the non-believers. it being allegorical, Cootie Mail, that's just allegorical. But that's just a PDF, Cootie Mail. Oh, well, this ain't no PDF. This is a wall in a Mayan temple. It's called Bonampak Mural. It's in Mexico, in Chiapas, Mexico, if you want to go visit it. What's the difference? Tell me, what is the difference? What is the difference? What are you guys debating? What is your argument? Where is your facts and proof? Are you just all talk always? Do you know about pearls and where they really got most of the pearls in the world? Do you understand where the real Pearl Coast is? You have not done your research. You have not done your research. What are you talking about? This is the 4 continents, okay?
4 continents.
So which one is
North
America then?
South America, Asia.
If you're saying this is the African, which one is America then?
Asia, goddamn mountain.
Which one is America then? Oh, we slay hijack. Oh, we stay slaying hijack. Oh, all talk, all the time, all talk, all talk, all talk. I can easily just eliminate you. Prove you're gone. Click of a button. We don't like trolls. We don't deal with trolls. Nah. So Africa, Europe, Asia, and America. America. Americana, or comparative view of the skulls of various aboriginal nations of North and South America, to which is prefixed an essay on the varieties of the human species by Samuel George Morton, MD. Check his credentials. Alright? The Peruvians, their faces are round, their eyes are small and black. Rather distant from each other, their noses are small, the mouth somewhat large, and teeth remarkably fine. Their complexion is dark brown. And their hair long, black, and rather coarse. Alright? To these observations of Clavijero, another one, may be added a few others from Humboldt, who describes them as possessing a swarthy copper color. A swarthy means dark skin, black, so-called black.
Swarthy.
Copper colored tribes of America.
Swarthy, black, copper color.
Copper colored tribes of America. Alright? Copper colored tribes of America. Webster's Dictionary, 1828. American, pertaining to America. As a noun, a native of America, originally applied to the aboriginals or copper-colored races. The copper-colored races found here by Europeans, but now applied to the descendants of Europeans born in America. Copper background, copper penny, copper-colored. Copper-colored. Painting on the left is from George Catlin. Write this down. You know how to spell George Catlin. Catlin. Google George Catlin paintings. Chief.
Big Kane, what up, my nigga?
Google it. Friends of Knowledge, encyclopedic journal and review of universal science and knowledge, historical, natural, medical, arts and sciences with numerous figures. Editor, C.S. Rufinski, of course, professor of historical natural sciences. Alright? Professor of historical natural sciences. The Americans cannot have sprung from a single nation because independently of the languages, their features or complexions are as various as in Africa and Asia. We find in America white, tawny, brown, yellow, olive, copper, and even black nations, and even black, so-called black nations, as in Africa. Not like Africans, but as in Africa. As. Don't make an ass of yourself, because as an African, right? Black as an African, just like it's depicted in this ceiling in a German church, that was done in 1770, Franz Anton White, right? Which correlates with what we find in Bonaparte murals, okay? Bonaparte murals.
Bonaparte is in Mexico. Aztecs. Mayans. Living in the Olmec. Old Mexico. Negus.
So,
He's all over this
William Penn, the founder of Pennsylvania, the Quaker, right? So what did he say about the people he encountered, the Delaware Lenape tribe? He says, I should consider their persons, language, manners, and religion and government with my sense of their original. For their persons, they are generally tall, straight, and well-built, of singular proportion. They tread strong and clever, and mostly walk with a lofty chin. Of complexion, black. Again,
what?
Of complexion, so-called black.
What?
Black, they call you black. The black man. The black. Who they talking about here? Who they talking about? Let them know.
The founder of Pennsylvania. Who you found when you went up in that bitch? Okay, man. $15.4.
Alright. So, guess what, guys? I was talking and it was muted the whole time. It's alright. We're gonna do it. We're gonna go over it again. So, these are not memes, you know. Let me explain. We're gonna try to help you out here, man. I know. It's okay, man. We're gonna break the spell, alright? So, there's a website, right? The archives, right? Write this down, Six Club. It's archive.org, right? And then you hit enter. And you're gonna see a website open, right? You're gonna see that this is from the Library of Congress and everything. These are verifiable sources. They have scanned all the prestige library and university books that are used, the primary sources that are used for today's textbooks. All right. So those same books, we're going to directly to them. We don't need the textbooks to interpret stuff for us anymore, because we know it's all lies. We know that's all lies. And you believe mainstream. You believe your teacher. I know. It's okay. So we go to the source, right? I made this image so it could be easier for everybody, right? You know, they might not have access to the book. So in this case, this is Verrazano. Most of you probably already read it, but he's letting you know they're of dark color, not much unlike the Ethiopian. All right? Unlike the Ethiopian, they're just like the Ethiopian. They're dark like the Ethiopian. Verrazano, 1524. All right? So what we're going to do is, you got the info. We're not going to entertain you anymore. At least I'm not. So we're going to keep it going without no distractions. Thanks for being here, man. I love that you're here, man, and at least you're trying. I mean, I don't know what you're doing here, who sent you or whatever, but thanks for coming, man. Bye. Alright, let's continue. Now we got some Caribbean kind. Yeah, we got the drums going. Alright, let's go. We got the drums going. Yeah. Let's go. Goodbye. Hello. Talk to the hand. Let's go. To the left. To the right. All right. Just trying to clear the vibes, Now we're going to continue with our presentation. So, again, Africa, America. Alright? Pick up where we left off. This is from 1770 by Franz Anton White. Fact check. Now we're at the Bourbon Room, Weinheim Shongan, St. Nicholas Church location, Germany. Asia, America, Europe, and Africa. Alright? So, Asia and America, right? America. Another place, another building in Germany. This ain't about PDFs, silly. My gosh, are you 10 years old? Ay, ay, ay. Oh, Lord. Alright, let me go. And this is, again, on this side, we got Africa, Europe and Africa. And this was painted in 1775 by Francis Xavier Bernhard. And now we're at the Killer. Alright, let's go back. Killer Solen Breckreis Mater Dolorosa Church in Germany. It's like a Spanish word. Almost. Good looking out to all the producers of the instrumentals. Alman, Deliman, Breeze 3000, Joseph Levels. There's another one, I can't remember the name, but he got the video, Yes Indeed. The song, Yes Indeed. Just Google that on YouTube, or just put on YouTube, Yes Indeed, instrumental. Alright. Thank you, bro. This one right here is from Breeze 3000. So right here, we got left to right, America, Asia, Africa, and Europe. So America, alright? America. With the line. What are you talking about? Now, is this symbolical too? Like, are you saying tribe of Judah? Is that what you're saying? Lions? Or you're saying it's either or, man. It's either or. We had lions, or you're saying tribe of Judah? Which one is it? Now look at you. Do you remember who you are? That's a nice lion. Yeah, we had lions. Check out my Ancient American Animals video. We had lions, American lions. Alright, dodge the hijack. Mammals, carnivores originated in America. Do the research. Camels, horses, and the oldest ancestor of elephants also. So what does that tell you? And this is from 1776. 1776. Wasn't the Revolutionary War in 1776 supposedly? So who are they fighting? They got all these wars with Indians. Who they fighting with? All those wars they had with the tribes. This is who they were fighting against. They use your own people too to war against you. They allied, they made treaties with, certain tribes with the different European countries, nations, and they started enslaving each other. A lot of the times just for survival, so they wouldn't get enslaved by other tribes. We read this. This is in the official history in Virginia, the history of slavery in Virginia, the Library of Congress. We got all the story, right? How they were reclassifying you. How they were calling you mulatto without any African ancestry in Virginia in the 1700s. Good looking out to brother Opemija. came out with some daggers last couple days. Reading the statutes of the Virginia, the slavery and the statute laws over there in those times. They were just switching you around. And we've seen the census records, right? We've seen the census records, how you went from white to mulatto to black, from white to black, from black to Indian, from Indian to Negro. We've seen how they switched that up, the scribbles in the census papers. And this is why. This is why. Because you are the American Indian. You're not African. 1776, they had to drop on you while they were creating their colonies on the other side. The Schwarzenhausen Holy Cross and Church in Germany. Left to right, we have Europe, America, then Africa and Asia. Alright? So Asia, this is Africa right here. Alright? Who's the darkest one in here? This is America. And this is Europe. Alright? America and Africa side by side. An American and an African side by side. You gotta break the spell. Wow, you talk about David Icke. Touch the hijack. Reptilians. They call you reptilian. Amaru Khan, Drakan, Plum Serpent, Snake people. They demonize you. The Bayerischel Maisberg Church, Germany. Who's the Naga?
What?
Who's the ancient Nagas who brought civilization to India? The Ramayana explains it. Prince Maya came from a distant land. Alright, what are we looking at right here? This all goes back to thought, believe it or not. All this symbology. So, alright, let's get the drop right here. So we got left, because I was like, which ones do we? But we already know. Look at the. Alright, so left to right, Africa, Asia, then America, and Europe. Alright, go ahead and break some spells. Come on. Come on. You remember? That's how they painted you in Germany. ancestors. Remember, don't ever forget again. Never forget again. Alright, let me just read this real quick. In the foreground, we see Europe dressed in a long dress and red coat. On her head, she wears a crown. Directly behind her is the black-skinned personification of America. It doesn't say allegory. Black-skinned personification of America. The black man.
Why they had a buffing last night like
So-called
that,
black.
And why you been up all night?
We're at the Rettenbach.
You been up all night?
Dackendorf Visitation of the Virgin Mary Church in Germany. You talking about the Corn Mother? Checks and your federal notes. That's what you want, some federal notes, some IOU. You want to owe them? You could only spend it in one place. In their places, you want that check, huh?
Want that check and that federal note. Want to spend it in one
You want
place?
that ADO's money?
Shit.
Hey, man, look, alright, let's see. America headdress, Asian turban. Alright, America with the headdress. Listen, man. Does this look like a slave to you?
The world can't trade no more. They blowed up the world trade. They blowed up the world trade. Ain't no trade no more. You ain't need no money. All you had to do is be able to trade with one another. Give me some of that, give you some of this now. Give some of that, give some of that. Oh, yeah, real trade. They blew up the world trade.
America, an American. That's you, an American. An American. That's you, an American. This is also you, an Amarucan, from the Atlas Novus Sive Tambula Geographicae. Go fact check. This is another representation of the 4 continents.
The 4 continents.
Where's the Amarucan? You definitely are. Big Big up to Soul Hustles out there. Big up to all the family. Steven Red Clay. Love those videos, man. Especially the one where you was teaching, man. Wow, man. You actually learned, man. I love that, man. Red Clay. More like that would be awesome. You know, if you got some value, like if you got some knowledge and skill in something and you want to teach everybody, you know, encourage you to go ahead and put it on YouTube, you know, and, you know, we'll be there supporting and we'll be there learning too. You know, we need all trades. We need all kinds of knowledge. We need everything, you know. That's how we become a unit. That's for the tribe, you know. Everybody in the tribe has a part. Everybody does a part in the tribe. Right? Just want to remind everybody who the pilgrims encountered when they got here. You got the last Wampanoag, so-called last. They always saying the last Mohegan, the last Wampanoag, the last Algonquin, the last Lenape. Dodge the hijack.
The last Mohican. I know the last.
He's still here. What are they talking about?
I heard you say that shit.
And Martin Luther King told you, before the pilgrims landed at Plymouth, we were here. Before the pen of Jefferson etched across the pages of history the majestic words of Declaration of Independence, we were here. Alright? We already saw and verified that you were here because we saw the paintings from Europe, right? From before the pilgrims got here. The American Nations by C.F. Rafinsky. This tradition preserved by Herrera. That's one of the Spaniards that came over here. Jesuit priest. We got his original book in Spanish. I got it. We're going to dig into all these books, family. Just give me time. Just give me some time. You know, I've got to translate it and all that, but we're going to do it. Let's dig into all this stuff. Now, he says, Ham, Garcia, and Charlie. Alright? The three of them, alright? These three known explorers and anthropologists and people who came over here and wrote their accounts, they indicate that there's a colony of Negroes or men painted black from South America. From South America, not Africa. South America. They might be the black Negroes of Cuarecua. I believe that was in the area of Colombia and Ecuador. I dodged the hijack because they try to say those were shipwrecked. They always try to say it's shipwrecked when they find a so-called Negro tribe. It must have been shipwrecked. So, the Negroes from Cuarecua mentioned by Danglaria, another Spaniard, or some other American Negro nation, of which there are many. There's so many. Yo, just see my account on Black Nations of America. Yo, just go check out my book. Go check out the videos. Danglaria mentions two wild tribes. American anthropography will teach that there were men of all sizes, features, and complexions in this hemisphere before 1492. Notwithstanding the false assertions of many writers who take one nation for the whole American group. Alright? Don't generalize. So-called scholars, stop generalizing. The Ushiks, the Puruas, and the Parias and Chongs were as white as the Spaniards. You hear that? They were as light-skinned as the Spaniards. Those tribes. Were these the same people? You know, who were these people? We gotta dig in all that. That's what we're digging on. This is the true old world. We have many nations here. Alright? It's not all black either. You gotta let go of that. While many tribes of chocolate, dark, the Manabis, the Yarudas, were as black as Negroes. Black as Negroes? So are they Negroes or not? Oh, I guess it depends. right? I guess it depends on if they're in servitude. Oh, if you got them under servitude, then you're gonna call them a Negro, right? All the other shades of brown, all the shades of brown and tawny and coppery were scattered everywhere. That's your own hijack. Break the spell. Your own prejudice. Talking to a lot of aboriginals out there too. Don't think I'm just talking to, that's your own prejudice. Alright? We're gonna continue. Go back to the book. And what were we looking at? The Amadu Khan. Again, many nations as black as Negroes, and all the other shades of brown and tawny, coppery, they were scattered everywhere. Alright? And then we got same thing, Africa and America. And Europe. So, this was from 1788, 1789 by Johann Christian Thomas Wink. Alright. We're in the Brixen on Tale Assumption, another church in Germany. You see the pattern? So left we got Europe, and the right we got America. That's you kneeling down. Oh, you put your bows and arrows down. Well, now you're bowing down to their gods of stone and wood. So now you're bowing down to their gods of stone and wood. You put your arrows down. Yeah. Asia and Africa. Welcome to everybody who's new to the flow, I guess, to the wave, to the frequency, to this truth, foundational truth, to your truth, to the realness, that pure water, that spirit water, Wakanda Springs, Jaguar, the Jaguar Mountains in Wisconsin, spirit water. America is the true old world. This is the biblical lands. Break the spell. We can do it together. This is Ingstetten, St. Agatha Church, Germany. Left to right, Asia, Africa, Europe, and America. Alright? Asia, Africa, Europe, and and America. Alright, this is the African right here. Who's darker? That don't matter though, right? Because all we're trying to show is that we've been here too. Again, the many shades of brown, the many shades of copper, even as black as Negroes, says C.F. Rafinsky. That's you, American Indian. American Indian. American Indian. Much love to your grandmother, to the great mother, to the elder, blessings. Just absorb it. These things help break spells. That's why they use advertisement, right? They use advertisement. You see how successful they are with their advertisement and their images, throwing them in your face all the time. So, break the spell. Here's an image for you. That's the American Indian. I know it's confusing to some of you. I know inside you say, but he's still African. But Cody Mel, he's still African. Prove it. You gotta prove it. Because we tribe it up. We know better. They say, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. Oh, we get in tribal. Pure instinct, only way to survival. Surfing on this wave, children of the Bible. You see, seeing like a dragon, gearing up for battle. Yo, we manifest the scriptures, eliminating rivals. No coincidence, I was disciples. Yo, priests, kings, warriors, and we tribal. You should have some love, respect, and be humble. No fakes, organic, all natural. Yo. Again, because we don't debate ignorance here. We build and meditate. Matrix, we kill the hate. Prophet's back, so it's too late. Renegade, hijack, assassin, already told you. Exposing these lies, unmasking. I'm taking back what's mine, no more asking. Yahweh, Yahweh, Yahweh. Hey, hey. Again, this is an American. Alright? You got the image clear? Did you get the screenshots?
Original man.
This is from 1790 to 1793 by Conrad Huber. That's how he painted you. That's how he painted you. That's how he knew an American.
Started a couple of years ago.
We thought it was just a cough, but it didn't go away. And
This is the St. FED church in Germany. This is the inside with their idols and the checkered floor. And here they depict you. Let's get up closer. It got a little whitened. We did this closer, but you can see. Let's zoom into this one. We're gonna do the. So this is Africa, Europe, Asia, and America. All right. And they told Daniel to seal the books until the end of days, when knowledge will increase. It says weapons for each continent. Alright, so let's check this out. Let's back up a little bit. Alright, so this is the main staircase castle in Germany. Says here, America includes a dragon. Again, America includes a dragon. A dragon. A dragon. They said that the dragon's main habitat was the Americas. In folklore, right? Is it folklore? The Drakan. What's an angel? What's a seraphim? Cherubim? America includes a dragon, bow and arrow, quiver, shield, Catholic monstrance, hunting form, feather headdress, 2 heads, a palm, a dragon or Quetzalcoatl, the plum serpent, Amaru, the Amaru. Alright, so this is the image right here. We are the book. So when you read the Bible, you're just reading about ancient American history. We're not talking about religions here. So, you know, you're fighting your own battle. You're fighting your own. You're not debating anybody here. You understand? You're debating yourself here. That's what you don't realize. The Drakan. The dragon. So, let's go to the etymology of Hebrew. Okay? Let's see what's up. Etymologyonline.com. Alright. So, Hebrew. from French Hebreo, from Latin Hebraeus, from Greek Hebraios, from Aramaic Semitic Hebrai, corresponding to Hebrew Ibri, an Israelite, traditionally from an ancestral name Eber, but probably, literally, alright, literally, one from the other side. One from the other side. The other side of the river Euphrates, you know, we crossed over. Perhaps in reference to the river Euphrates, or perhaps simply signifying an immigrant. Eber, region on the other or opposite side. So if you're in Africa or Europe, they were like, oh, the Hebrew? Oh, that's the guy, that's them from, you know, the other side, the region from the other side. From Amaraka, the western Ethiopia, Atlantis. Alright, when we break down the word Eber, in a lot of Hebrew ways, forms, and some of the definitions, it goes into pinion. Pinion means feather. Eber, Ebra, feather. It basically goes down to feather. When you're saying Abra, Abra, Ebra, alright, one from the other side. Dodge the hijack. We know we didn't call ourselves Hebrews, we had tribal names. What we're trying to show you is that when you read the Bible, the Old Testament, the Torah, you can find the same writings in the Mexican codices, in the Inca's stories. All that, the Popol Vuh. Read it side by side with Genesis, the creation. Alright, you gotta overstand that's your own hijack. And we're not here to debate. We're not here to debate. Those are their weapons, I guess, from America. So they're going to show us Europe now, which says 2 shields, rifle, helmet, battle axe, and spear. See, it was very different than the American. I don't see no dragons here because they're always trying to portray dragons, right? But who's that royal line really? Who's that crest really from? Think about that. Who are the original Britons, Irish, the Irish themselves, Scots, Scotia, a princess, an Egyptian princess. Egyptian princess from ancient Tamari? Are you talking about Tamari Khan? You mean the Tamari Khan? The Tamari, the dweller of Egypt? A Tamari is an Egyptian. Tamari, ancient Egypt is in America. Was in America. Dodge the hijack. Egypt is a Greek word. Egypt is a Greek word. They never called themselves that. There's more references of them calling their land Tamari. Tamari. Alright? Then it says Asia has a flag, a staff, eagle head, sword, shield, one head, and another sword. Because I know what they're trying to do. They're trying to put your staff over there. Alright, we're going to show something. I'm going to get into the annals of the Kachikel today before we end the video. Alright, we're going to see who had the red stick, who really had the staff, the red stick. People of the red stick, stand up. I know y'all out there. Yep, and Terah came out of Eber. That was one of Eber's descendants. Yeah, we know they lived. We know what happened. We know the story. What's your point? African. Woo! Again, you gotta prove the African part. Please post your source so we can all verify. To Mary, I don't think you're overstanding. I just broke down to Mary, and you're telling me to look at one of their maps of modern day maps. You silly rabbit. Tricks are for kids. Have you heard that? We're at the Wurzburg. We're gonna continue over here. We're at the Wurzburg. Prince Bishop residence. The Ingenheim room, blue and purple. Alright, room 35. If anybody wanna go down there and visit. This is a castle in Germany. Alright? A flag, a staff with a dragon emblem. A staff with a dragon emblem. Hold that thought real quick. Hold that thought real quick. Let's get some clear perspective. Now you see what Quetzalcoatl is holding? He's holding a staff, a snake. This is Huitzilopochtli, the god of war. The god of war. What's he holding? So we got the staff of Moses. The staff of Moses is mentioned in the Bible and Quran as a walking stick used by Moses according to the book of Exodus in the Bible. The staff, Mateh, translated rod in the King James Bible, was used to produce water from a rock. This technology was transformed into a snake and was was used as the parting of the Red Sea. We're talking about the California Red Sea. That one right there, Mayo, the Mare Rubru. If you haven't seen my video on the origin and meaning of the name America, I invite you to go watch it. You'll find it very interesting and very factual. Real history, the true origin of the name, the Amaraka, the Amaru, the Amaraka kingdom that was over here. And that's the end of volume 8. Alright? That's the end of volume 8. So we went through 3 volumes today. And we've been going on for 4 hours here. If you guys are still there, maybe we can get a little reading. Bear with me.
That was Zoda coffee.
businesses are home.
The island of California. The island
So
of
the copper was
California. The Kalifia. Amazon. Amazon and the Kalifia. The island of California. Yeah, that's Superman. That's Superman. Island of California.
Shalom, peace to everyone. I think we got a good crowd now. So yeah, I just want to say, much love and respect to everybody out there, all the tribes, everyone following me, supporting me all the time.
The truth, man.
Here, if you haven't heard about it, you might like this, especially if you like investigative journalism. All right, so we're not here to just try to prove everything. We're just also just trying to, build and see what makes sense. All right, so I hope you guys, like this video. So, before I started, I actually wanted to talk about certain things first, because we're gonna hear a lot of references of like islands and romanticizing Roman and all this stuff, and Turks and all that. So just bear with me. And we've been able to almost correlate that was up in there in Utah. All right, Aslan, we see old maps that also say that the Aztecs came from there, or that says that they departed from there. And the Sea, Red Sea, all right, in California.
Red Sea in California, though.
Mexico, Florida map. Something we gotta dig on. Just wanted to show you, all right, that these things exist. Let me just show you some more maps.
Red Sea in California.
And this one is the Samson, New Mexico, and Florida map. Again, California is an island. And then you got, again, a different language, Mar Vermelho. All right, Mar Vermelho, that's Portuguese for red sea, Mar Sea, Red Sea. All right, and California's an island again. All right. So I got numerous maps like this. So I just want to, I'm just trying to show you some examples here. So I got numerous. And so this is another one, old map, California, Isle, you see, Isle or island. Right to that. California Island. And again, the Mar Vermelho, or the Red Sea. The Red Sea. Now, if you caught some of my Hebrew Aboriginal videos, if you remember the Annals of the Kachikels, right? Written by the Kachikels themselves, translated by Daniel Brinton, a very primary source scholar. Knows a lot. He was down there doing a lot of research on that, the indigenous people down there. Many books he published and wrote, and they are considered primary sources. And he translated to us what the Kachikel told us, that they followed their leader and that they had this staff, this red stick, and that's where they get their name. The Kachikels, the red stick, and the staff they got from Tulan, Aslan. And we've been able to almost correlate that was up in there in Utah. All right, Aslan, we see old maps that also say that the Aztecs came from there, or that says that they departed from there in Utah. All right, so it'll say like ancient home of the Aztecs or the Mexica. All right, and so again, this story of the Kachikels, they have a staff which they put in the sand and they parted the sea. All right, this is from their own writings. All right, I'm not talking about reading the Bible here. I'm talking about the Annals of the Kachikels. All right, and they had a staff and they parted the Red Sea. So if we're seeing Mar Vermelho or California a lot, so just have that in mind. Alright, just bear with me. Alright, and they had a staff and they parted the Red Sea. So if we're seeing Mar Vermelho or Red Sea right here, alright, we can correlate, it was here. Alright, this is the true old world. I just wanted to go ahead and reference that because we're going to hear about the island of California a lot, so just have that in mind. Alright, just bear with me.
He's been a leader throughout the country for the past 12 years. Mr. Michael Bloomberg is here.
Leadership in action.
Alright, so just want to continue with a little bit more perspective here, right? Try to dig into things that we don't really research, we don't try to put together, we just go off of what we hear, and we don't try to relate when we're reading things. For example, when we're reading about Romans, right? Romans, what is a Roman? Alright, so according to the history of the Hebrew Commonwealth from the earliest times to the destruction of Jerusalem, AD 72, translated from the German of John Jan D.D., formerly professor of the Oriental languages, of biblical antiquities, and of theology in the University of Vienna, with a continuation to the time of Adrian. Alright, this is volume 2, and this is from 1829, so very good book actually, how they break down things about the Bible and stuff. And found here something very interesting, because something we've been digging on, most of us pretty much know already. Alright, but it says here that Abravanel observes that we may call the subject of the Roman Empire and Christians in general Edomites. Alright, just bear with me. Sorry about that. Don't want to get... Yeah, hold on. Alright. So, again, Abravanel observes that we may call the subjects of the Roman Empire and Christians in general Edomites. So, the subjects of the Roman Empire and Christians in general Edomites, right? Edomites. So, who's Edom? Edom is the son of Esau, right? The brother of Jacob, right? Edom, Esau, son, and his lineage, Edomites, with the same propriety as Isaiah addresses the sinners of his time, as the rulers of Sodom and the people of Gomorrah. His parallel between the Romans and Edomians is carried much too far. They had, he said, like Esau and Jacob, a common father, even God. Esau, by his marriage, allied the family of the patriarchs to strangers, and the Roman Empire and the Catholic Church are composed of various nations, or equally offensive to God. Esau hated Jacob and wished to take from him his birthright, his property, and his life. And the Christians treat the Israelites in the same manner. Again,
You nigga rolling around trying to take their birthrights so you got their own their land. Ain't that what it's about right now?
Esau hated Jacob and wished to take from him his birthright. What's your birthright? I'm talking to all of you. Where's your land at? Where's your land? You got your birthright?
Planet Mars.
His property,
Was there for
your property and your
bloodthirsty
life.
man.
And just like Esau, the Christians treat the Israelites in the same manner. Alright, just want to go to the next page real quick. It says, the Edomians were a loyal people who under the reign of Agrippa marched to succor of Jerusalem. But Constantine, having embraced the religion of certain persons who had faith in a man whom they had defied, wished to introduce it at Rome. A few Edomians only complied with the wishes of the emperor and became Christians. Hence it was that the Roman Empire was called Edom. The Roman Empire was called Edom. Edom. In the same manner as the Egyptians and Arabians are called Ishmaelites, although there are but few of the descendants of Ishmael among them. Alright. So I just wanted to stop there with that book, because, so where was Edom? There's a point of why I'm trying to say this. So Idumea, right? Edom, Idumea are two related but distinct terms which are both related to a historically contiguous population. So same people, but separate and adjacent territories were occupied by the Edomites, Idumeans in different periods of their history. Alright, so Edom was near the Holy Land, right? Near Israel. It says between Moab to the northeast, the Arabah to the west, and the Arabian Desert to the south. Alright, most of this former territory is now divided between Israel and Jordan. Alright, so we're dodging the hijack because we know it's not on that side over there. But just to have a reference, right? So we're talking about that Edom or a Roman, an Edomite or a Roman, right, is from the Promised Land. Alright, so people of the Promise or Promised Land, Edomians, yeah, they're Hebrew too. Alright, but not everybody's an Israelite or the sons of Jacob. So I just wanted to put that distinction, because when we read about Queen Kalifia, we're talking about, they try to tell she's Roman, and then they're trying to say that she's, her story comes out of a romanticized story, Roman, Edomite. Alright, so let me just stop it there. And so let's just get started with the Queen Kalifia information. I hope you guys like it. So I hope it doesn't get too boring, but I'm just trying to show all the information that's out there, scholarly wise, so you can have it and put it together how you want.
The Historical Society of Southern California.
Alright, so now we're going to read from this article, which is from the Historical Society of Southern California, as you can see here. The source of this, it's called New Light on the Name of California, alright, by Herbert D. Austin. The source of this is the annual publication of the Historical Society of Southern California, Volume 12, Number 3, from 1923, pages 29 to 31. Alright, so again, New Light on the Name of California by Herbert Austin. And it says, there have been many attempts to account for the origin of the melodious, yet stately name of California. Some of the more enthusiastic admirers of the Great Brown Land, have been fain to associate its first syllables with the Greek kalos, beautiful. Alright, so we're going to get a reference to that. Kalos, beautiful. Why was it beautiful? Etymologists of grimmer mood have suspected them of being from the same root as the Spanish caliente, or hot, and the fornia, of bearing an unflatteringly close relationship to furnace. Many modest but not altogether unromantic guessers have looked to the familiar Arabic word caliph as likely clue. The complete list of would-be explanations is fairly long, and throughout this video we're going to see that it is, and that's why we're trying to make sense of all this, right? Now it says here, goodly part of them became out of date in 1917, when the University of California Press published by Ruth Putnam's California the Name. Alright, we have this book, we're going to get into that as well, in which Everett Hale's sermons of 60 years ago, that it was from an old Spanish romance, received satisfying scholarly confirmation. Alright, so that's what we're going to get into. One of the main origin sources for the name of California is said to be like he said here, a Spanish romance. Alright, we're going to get into all this, what that means, a romance, and what Spanish book that was. They continue here telling you that, again, it's a romance. The exploits of Esplandian, as it was called, the exploits of Esplandian, La Serga de Esplandian in Spanish, the original. Alright, this was written in about 1510. Alright, now continues as related in Spanish, the adventures of Esplandian, son of the ultra-famous Amadis of Gaul, and was added by Montalvo, a fifth book, to his translation of the Amadis. from the Portuguese. All right, so this Spanish romance, the Esplandian, right, was actually a translation that was originally in Portuguese called the Amadis of Gaul, which was a lot older than this book. It was already in print before 1520. Alright, so this book, Las Sergas, again, was actually done in 1510. Alright, so I'm telling you here, it was already in print before 1520 and evidently became at once immensely popular. Alright, so this book supposedly was very popular because these romances, this story, as we're going to see, was not so new. And what it represented and symbolized, alright, in those times, especially medieval times, was a very important historic fact, actually, that was going on with these so-called Christian, Turkish, and, all these kingdoms at that time. Alright. Now, one thing I want to point out now, remember, 1520, when did Cortez invade Mexico? Alright, so we're in the Encyclopedia Britannica website, and this is regarding Hernan Cortez, the Spanish conquistador, as it says here. Alright, now it says that he overthrew the Aztec Empire 1519 to 1521 and won Mexico down Spain. Alright, so they're telling us that this book, again, remember, the Esplandian, Las Sergas Esplandian, or the exploits of Esplandian, by 1520, it was already popular. It was written before that. So what is the chances that Cortez would have this story or book? Alright, because we're going to see what they say. Alright, and we're going to see throughout this video that Hernando Cortez actually writes about California and what was over there. And he didn't mention anything about getting the story from the Esplandian, the exploits of Esplandian. He actually says he got the story from local Indians. We got his letters. Alright, so we're going to get into that as well. So again, I just want you to have this kind of like reference so you can understand how likely is it that they would be the ones naming California because of that story. Alright. If it was written in 1510, he already had Mexico by 1519. I mean, that's only like about 8, 9 years. I mean, books weren't just printed like they are now, and information didn't just travel like it is now, like on the internet instantly. It didn't happen like that back then. So we have to assume he might have heard the story or might have got the book before he went to the Americas, right? Since it was printed in 1510. But again, this story was way older than 1510, all right? So that's not the origin, and we're going to get into that, all right? Very cool. Now it's going to get into what the story says, all right? We're going to go over this throughout this video. Now it says, in it figures a wild and wonderful island called California, all right? We're talking about the exploits of Esplandian in 1510. All right, an island, wonderful island called California. Remember what I showed you in the beginning, all right? A lot of these maps showing California as an island. At the right hand of the Indies. The right hand of the Indies. Like the farthest, always a far distant land, right? These mythical places are always in an unknown region on the other side of the Indies, in the West Indies. Alright? Very close to that part of the terrestrial paradise. What? California? Very close to the terrestrial paradise? What have we been learning? What is all the correlation we've come up with? We've shown that this is a true old world and this is a possible location of the Garden of Eden of the first place. Alright? Terrestrial paradise, or at least one of the terrestrial or Edens. Alright, so this book, somehow, why he's saying this in this story in 1510, which correlates with so much that we've been learning recently, right? How did he know? I mean, let's go into this. Which was inhabited by black women. What? So we got an island named California at the right hand of the Indies, alright? Very close to that of that terrestrial paradise. which was inhabited by black women without so much as a man among them. And they lived in the manner of the Amazons, meaning like warrior women, Amazons. They were robust of body, with strong, passionate hearts, and great virtue. The island itself is one of the wildest in the world on account of the bold and craggy rocks. The warlike and beautiful queen, Kalifia, was leagued with the pagan princes against leaders of Christendom, from the great Amadis and Esplandian down. And it says here, in the old French epic, the Song of Roland. Alright, here we go again. The Song of Roland, at least 400 years earlier. Again, to letting you know it's older. 400 years earlier than the Esplandian. Mention is made of a pagan city or country, Kalifia. A pagan city? Didn't they call your ancestors pagans too? Which, along with northern barbarian tribes, so this country is California is different than the northern barbarian tribes because it's separating it, right? And with other Sicily, separating it with these Mediterranean people, and African, and separating it from the Africans, is regarded as a great potential danger to the host of Christendom. So I was saying that all these kingdoms are a threat. This California is on their list as one of those kingdoms that's a threat to the Christendom, whatever that means, Christendom, whoever that was. Because in those times, medieval times especially, they were calling a lot of people Christians that had nothing to do with being a Christian as well, how we think of them today. Alright? For example, Prester John. They would call him the Nestorian, the Christian Nestorian king. And he had nothing to do with Christianity. Alright? And this earlier occurrence of a name so strikingly similar to that of California has given rise to numerous observations on the part of inquiring minds, ranging all the way from skepticism to affirmation, alright, affirmation. Whether it was taken by Montalvo with some slight alteration from the Chanson de Roland, or whether both got it from a common source or related sources. The ultimate origin and etymology was as obscure as ever. Alright, so it's saying that these two could have got it from another source. Alright, this French Chanson de Roland and these other romance epics, Amadis de Gaul and the exploits of Esplandian. Alright, this part says, but at last the veil seems to have been lifted. At any rate, in his very thorough study of the Chanson de Roland, just off the press of Champion, P. Boissonade, Dean of the Literary Faculty of Poitiers, offers a scholarly and appealing explanation which will convince many and entertain all of those interested in this subject. The sum and substance of his thesis is in brief as follows. Alright, and it says, there were a number of fortified cities located at strategic points of the Mussulman domain in northwest Africa. Some of them famed for their magnificence as well as for their strength, and the Arabic word for this type of town was Kala or Kalat. This word was used as a prefix in forming their names, and a number of such names were known to the Christian world. Alright? So, we need to, now, when they say Northwest Africa, are they talking about in the continent of Africa, or are they talking about it in a Moorish perspective? In Northwest Africa, if you look at their Amexem map of the Moors, is actually North America. So are we talking about North America or West Africa, really? Alright, so it's something to think about. We don't know that for sure right here. Alright, I'm just saying. So let's continue. It says, the Arabic geographers have preserved for us many of these mouth-filling appellations. Among them was in particular which designated a city of this type apparently very famous among the Western Christians. It lay 4 days' march south of Bogi, was the capital of a great empire founded by a warrior called Beni Hamad. whose renowned for magnificence rivaled that of Solomon, and was named after the Berber tribe of the Beni Ifren, who were his vassals, Kala Ifrene, or Kal Ifrene. It was the queen city of Barbary in the 11th century. So that would be in the thousands AD. And recent excavations on the site have confirmed the glowing accounts left by Arabic geographers and historians as to its extent and splendor. It was the Kala for excellence in the eyes and imagination of the Occidental defenders of the faith until its downfall in the middle of the 12th century or 1100s. Professor Boissonade considers it undoubtedly to have been not only the Califerne of the Chanson de Roland, but also the California of the Sergas de Explandian. And as a sort of epilogue, he comments on singular destiny which was in store for this name from the Maghreb, Northwest Africa, in a Spanish romance added to the Amadis de Gaula in the 15th and 16th centuries. It designates the imaginary country of the Black Amazons. And finally, it is applied in America. And finally, it's applied in America to the land since become famous under the name California. But it says, so that Arabic word Caliph, alright, Caliph, appears not to have been a bad clue. And that's right. Alright. So this is Mr. Herbert D. Austin's from the University of Southern California explanation of the name. Alright. Alright, so that's the first book that we went through. I just wanted to have his perspective, right, Mr. Herbert Austin's, right? So you can see, because we're going to hear that that's something people like to use as the origin, right, of the name of Queen Khalifa and California. So, you know, we talk about it, right, and it does make sense, the whole Caliph part, right, Kalifia, Caliph, right, and as America being the true old world, yes, there was Muslims and Arabs here, like I said, right, where does Edom? Edom was between Moab and all that. So all these cities were right here, right, is what I'm trying to show you. So it's not that we were just Hebrews or just, you know, whatever you want to call yourself. What I'm trying to say is, you know, all these tribes that were here, right, whatever you want to call them, Sioux, Mexica, Maya, Olmec, you know, and in the Book of Mormon they're called something. In the Bible they're called another thing. In history they're called a different thing. The Europeans came and labeled them different. That wasn't even their original names in most cases. You know, we don't know a lot of the times what they called themselves, you know, a lot of these tribes. So what I'm trying to point out here is that yes, there was Muslims and Arabs here too, right? But that's not the end. That's not the beginning or end of the story. You get what I'm saying? So, there's history. You got to read history. And these people, and all these nations did not live alone in history. If you read history, they were surrounded by other nations. Okay? And America is the true old world. I'm going to get into another book. Just bear with me. It's going to get better as we go. All right? Let me just pull out the book. Alright, so we're in this library from the Harvard Divinity School. It says Andover Harvard Theological Library, gift of Robert Rabel. Alright, we're about to get into this library. The book is called His Level Best and Other Stories by Edward E. Hale. Alright, from 1885. Says here, preface. The first of these stories has never before been published. The others have had a circulation more or less limited in different journals. The Queen of California, as will be seen as my translation from the Sergas of Esplandian, of every passage relating to the imagined island of California. Since the first publication of that translation, the principal public libraries of this country have obtained copies of that romance. November 30, 1872. The Queen of California. This is in page 232. I believe. 234. And it says, in the winter of 1862, I read for the first time the Spanish romance of the Sagas of Esplandian. It is sometimes cited as the first book of Amadis of Gaul, but is by Garcia Ordóñez de Montalvo, the translator of Amadis, a workman very inferior to Lobeda, who must be rated, I think, very highly among the writers of narrative, coming to the allusion in this forgotten romance to the island of California, very near to the terrestrial paradise. I saw at once that here was the origin of the name of the state of California, long sought for by the antiquarians of the state, but long forgotten. For the romance seems to have been published in 1510. The edition of 1521 is now in existence, while our California, even the peninsula of that name, was not discovered by the Spaniards till 1526, and was not named California till 1535. Alright? So you see the timelines, alright? How fast could that story have spread to all these Spaniards, and why would they just say, oh, this is the one, California? They would have to have been so sure, right? They were sure of something. Alright, as we're gonna see what Cortez says. At the next meeting of the American Antiquarian Society, I called their attention to this derivation of the name, and it has since been universally recognized as the origin of the name now so familiar to us. The romance of Esplandian is now so rare that I translated for the Atlantic Monthly all the parts which relate to the Queen of California, and I now republish them. The reader may be interested in examining first the history of the discussion of the subject and then of the romance. The name of California was given by Cortez, who discovered the peninsula in the year 1535. Alright, again, we're going to get into what Cortez said. For the statement that he named it, we have the authority of Herrera. It is proved, I think, that the expedition of Mendoza in 1532 did not see California. It is certain that they gave it no name. Humboldt cited in the archives of Mexico a statement in manuscript that it was discovered in 1526. Alright? And in the footnote it says it would be very desirable to have a new examination of the manuscript alluded to. So where is it? But for this there is no other authority. There is no other authority. It is certain that the name does not appear till 1535. Alright? 1535. No etymology of this name has been presented satisfactory to the historians. Negus, this is another Spaniard, the Jesuit historian of California, writing in 1758, sums up the matter in these words. The most ancient name is California, used by the Bernal Diaz, limited to a single bay. I could wish to gratify the reader by the etymology and true origin of this name, but in none of the various dialects of the natives could the missionaries find at least traces of such a name being given by them to the country, or even to any harbor, bay, or small part of it. Nor can I subscribe to the etymology of some writers, who suppose the name to be given to it by the Spaniards, on their feeling an unusual heat at their first landing here, that they thence called the country California, compounding the two Latin words calida and fornax, a hot furnace. Alright, so he's telling you dodge the hijack. He can't go down with that explanation. I believe few will think the adventurers could boast of so much literature. I believe the Californian authors of our own time agree with Negus in rejecting this forced etymology. The word to be made from it should be Californacia. Dr. Bushnell, who says the heat of the interior valleys is that of Baker's furnace, speaks of a region which Cortez never saw. It must be recollected that though Bernal Diaz only uses the name for the bay, we have a better authority for saying that Cortez gave it to the peninsula. But neither the peninsula nor bay is often described by Dr. Bushnell. Clavijero, in his History of California, after giving this etymology, offers an alternative, the following as the opinion of the learned Jesuit D. Giuseppe Campoy. Alright, it says he believes that the name is composed of the Spanish word cala, which means a little cove, the sea, and the Latin fornix, which means the vault of a building. He thinks these words are thus applied because with Cape St. Lucas there is a little cove of the sea, towards the western part of which rises a rock. So worn out that on the upper part of the hollow is seen a vault as perfect as if made by art. Cortez therefore observed in this cala, or cove, in this vault, probably called this port California, or Cala in Port Negus, speaking half in Spanish, half in Latin. Alright, so we're gonna get, again, the letter from Cortez to King Charles V, alright, to see what he actually said. Clavijero suggests, as an improvement on this somewhat wild etymology, that Cortez may have said Californax, Cove Furnace, speaking as in the Jesuit suggestion in 2 languages. Alright, so again, we get a lot of opinions. A lot of different people, historians and people in different times had their opinion on why this place was called California. You see, it must have been anciently already been called that. And everybody's trying to figure it out, even back in 1500s, 1600s, 1700s, they're trying to figure out why it was named California. Alright? Continues, says, I am told that the Reverend Dean Trench, in one of his etymological works, suggests that the Greek, and I don't read Greek, says, implying that the province seemed to the early settlers to have the attractions of a beautiful adultery. I have not myself found this passage, but I remember Mr. Powers, the sculptor, represents California as a naked woman, seductive in front, but concealing a torn bush in her hands behind, and he describes his statue as intended to represent her false seductions. Oh, that's interesting. So Mr. Powers depicts California as a naked woman. Well, why a woman? And why is the emblem of America a woman, an indigenous woman, right? And it's in California, right? And what is the state seal of California? And it says here, a naked woman, seductive in front, but concealing a torn bush in her hands behind. Sounds like Eve, doesn't it? And he describes his statue as intended to represent her false seductions. Of this etymology, it is enough to say that Cortez and his men knew nothing of the seductions, never finding gold or anything else tempting there, and that the theory requires more, yet worse, scholarship at their hands than that of Calida Fornax. Alright, so those are like wild etymologies, as he's saying. Of all such speculations, Mr. Greenhouse says very fitly, none of them are satisfactory or even ingenious. It is in the worthless romance of the Serjas of Explandian, the son of Amadis of Gaul, a book long since deservedly forgotten, that there is to be found the source from which the adventurers transferred the name California to the new region of their discovery. Towards the close of this romance, the various Christian knights assembled to defend the emperors of the Greeks and the cities of Constantinople, the emperors of the Greeks. So these Christian knights were warriors, right? Soldiers, right? And they were defenders of the emperor of the Greeks in the city of Constantinople against the attack of the Turks and infidels. On this occasion, in a romance published first in 1510. Alright, got that already. 25 years before Cortez discovered the American California. The name appears with precisely our spelling in the following passage. Again, we're going to get this many times. Know that on the right hand of the Indies there is an island. It's called California, very near to the terrestrial paradise, which was peopled with black women without any men among them, because they were accustomed to live after the fashion of Amazons. They were of strong and hardened bodies, of ardent courage and of great force. The island was the strongest in the world. From its steep rocks and great cliffs, their arms were all of gold, and so were the comparisons of the wild beasts which they rode. They rode after having tamed them, for in all their islands there is no other metal. They lived in caves very well worked out. They had many ships in which they sailed to other parts to carry on their forays. In the paper to which these paragraphs are in introduction, I have translated every passage in the Explandian which relates to the Queen of California, the name appearing as will be seen in several distinct passages in the history. This romance, as I have said, is believed to have been printed first in 1510. No copies of this edition, however, are extant. But of this edition of 1519, a copy is preserved. And there are copies successive, edition 1525 and 1526, which is the version I have, in which last year 2 editions were published, one at Seville and the other at Burgos. All of these are in Spanish. It follows almost certainly that Cortez and his followers in 1535 must have been acquainted with the romance, and as they sailed up the west side of Mexico, they supposed they were precisely at the place indicated. So why would Cortez and his people suppose? Why did they start saying, yo, this is California, this is the one in the romance? He knew it was precisely at the place indicated, precisely in the right hand of the Indies, in the right hand of the Indies, right? All these books, history books, they're called History of the Indies, of the New World or of New Spain, Indies. On the right hand of the Indies, there is an island near the terrestrial paradise. It will be remembered also that by sailing in the same direction, Columbus in his letter to the sovereign says, he shall be sailing towards the terrestrial paradise. Let me go back. Whoa. It will be remembered. Yo, you gotta remember that by sailing in the same direction, all right, Columbus in his letter to the sovereign says he shall be sailing towards the terrestrial paradise. Columbus knew he was going to the terrestrial paradise. He wrote all this stuff. If you believe Columbus was a real person, his records, the person he supposedly was, wrote, his character wrote, it's recorded in the Columbina libraries and many other books, all right, that he knew he was going to go get the Holy Land, the Holy City in Mount Zion. He knew his journey was divine. He knew he was allowed to cross the ocean. It was divine. He was allowed. He knew that. He said it. Alright? And he also said again that he shall be sailing towards the terrestrial paradise when he goes towards the Indies. America, America. We did not suppose that Cortez believed the romance, but more than we do. Though we assert that he borrowed a name from it to indicate the peninsula he found. So they assert, this is what he's saying, we assert, right? He's assuming that he borrowed it. Why would he borrow a name from a romance? A name from it to indicate the peninsula he found on the right-hand side of the Indies near to the terrestrial paradise. If it is necessary to analyze very carefully his motive for borrowing a name from a romance, then so generally known it will be enough to say that this romance credited the island of California with great treasures of gold, and that it placed it very near the East Indies, in quest of which all the adventurers of that time were sailing. There is, however, no more reason for giving a serious motive for such a nomenclature than there is for the motive with which LaSalle or his companions gave the name of Lichine to the point in Canada from which they hoped to reach China. Alright, you hear what they're saying? It's just conjecture.
China through Canada.
That doesn't mean he really got it from there.
They're gonna reach China through Canada.
Continue in the book, his level
okay,
best and other stories regarding Queen Kalifia. And continues says, it is not strange that ecclesiastical historians like Negus should in the 18th century have lost sight of this origin of the name. It was not until 1683 that the Jesuit fraternity succeeded in planting an establishment there. Even then, their establishment was which gave it name was forgotten. After 1542, no edition of the Sergas of Explandian was printed in Spain, so far as we know, till 1575, and after that of 1587. None for 270 years more. The reaction had come when the curate burned the books of Don Quixote. He burned this among the rest. he saved the Amadis of Gaul, but he burned Esplandian. We will not spare the sun, said he, for the virtues of his father, these words show. Cervantes' estimate of it as early as 1605. It is not surprising then that an ecclesiastical like Negus should not know in 1758 the wild geography of romance 2 centuries and more after it was written. D'Herblay, the early French paraphraser of this romance, retains the whole story of the Queen but transfers the situation of California to the source of the river Oristines near the descent of the Riphean Mountains. The only effort to introduce it to the modern readers in any European country until the recent Spanish reprint of 1857 is in the wretched paraphrase by Tresson, published in France in the last century. This author, as if to add to the probability of the tale, omits the name California in each of the passages relating to it, so that even his forgotten work we do not get hold of the lost clue. In ascribing to the Esplandian the origin of the name California, I know that I furnish no etymology for that word. I have not found the word in any earlier romances. I will only suggest that the root caliph, the Spanish spelling for the sovereign of the Muslim power of the time, was in the mind of the author as he invented these Amazon allies in the infidel power. Says the following is the account above referred to, with everything from the Esplandian to the Queen of California. Says, I can see the excitement which this title arouses as it flashes across the Sierras, down the valleys and into the various reading rooms and parlors of the Golden City of the Golden State, as the San Francisco Bulletin announces someday that in the Atlantic Monthly, issued in Boston the day before, one of the articles is on the Queen of California. What contest in every favored circle, the most favored of lands, who the queen may be. It is the blonde maiden who took a string of hearts with her in a leash when she left us one sad morning. Is it the hardy brown adventuress who in her bark-roofed lodge serves us out our boiled dog daily as we come home from our water gullies and sews for us weekly the few buttons which we still find indispensable in that toil? Is it some Jessie of the Lion Heart? Jessie of the Lion Heart? Heroine of the 100 Days or of 1,000? Rush upon the newsboy, who then brings forth the bale of this journal, for the multitude to find that the Queen of California, of whom we write is no modern queen, but that she reigned some 555 years ago. Her precise contemporaries were Amadis of Gaul, the Emperor Splendid and Sultan Radiado, and she flourished, as the books say, at the time when the Sultan made his unsuccessful attack on the city of Constantinople, all of which she saw, part of which she was. She was not petite, nor blonde, nor golden-haired, but she was large and black, as the ace of clubs. She was not petite nor blonde, alright, nor golden-haired. She was large and black, as the ace of clubs. But the prejudice of color did not then exist even among the most brazen-faced or the most copper-headed. For as you shall learn, she was reputed the most beautiful of women, and it was she, oh, Californians, who wedded the gallant Prince Talanque. Prince Talanque? That sounds like an Aztec or Maya name, Talanque. Prince Talanque, your first known king. The supporters of in each of the passages relating to it, so that even his forgotten work we do not get hold of the lost clue. In ascribing to the Esplandian the origin of the name California, I know that I furnish no etymology for that word. I have not found the word in any earlier romances. I will only suggest that the root caliph, the Spanish spelling for the sovereign of the Muslim power of the time, was in the mind of the author as he invented these Amazon allies in the infidel power. Says the following is the account above referred to, with everything from the Esplandian to the Queen of California. Says, I can see the excitement which this title arouses as it flashes across the Sierras, down the valleys and into the various reading rooms and parlors of the Golden City of the Golden State, as the San Francisco Bulletin announces someday that in the Atlantic monthly, issued in Boston the day before. One of the articles is on the Queen of California. What in each of the passages relating to it, so that even his forgotten work we do not get hold of the lost clue. In ascribing to the Esplandian the origin of the name California, I know that I furnish no etymology for that word. Alright, nor golden-haired, she was large and black as the ace of clubs, but the prejudice of color did not then exist even among the most brazen-faced or the most copper-headed. For as you shall learn, she was reputed the most beautiful of women, and it was she, oh, Californians, who wedded the gallant Prince Talanque. Prince Talanque? That sounds like an Aztec or Maya name, Talanque. Prince Talanque, your first known king. The supporters of the arms of the beautiful shield of the state of California, alright? The shield of the state of California should be on the right a knight armed cap up high, and on the left an Amazon sable, clothed in skin as you shall now see. Mr. E.E. Hale of Boston sent to the Antiquarian Society last year a paper which shows that the name of California was not known to literature before it was given to our peninsula by Cortez. Cortez discovered the peninsula in 1535 and seems to have called it California then. But Mr. Hale shows that 25 years before that time, in a romance called The Deeds of Esplandian, the name of California was given to an island on the right hand of the Indies. This romance was a sequel of a fifth book to the celebrated romance of Amadis of Gaul. Such books made the principal reading of the young blades of that day who could read at all. It seems clear enough that Cortez and his friends, coming to the point farthest to the west, then known, which all of them, from the Columbus down, supposed to be the East Indies, gave their discovery the name, familiar to romantic adventurers of California, to indicate their belief that it was on the right hand of the Indies. Just so Columbus called his discoveries the Indies. Just so was the name El Dorado given to the region which it was hoped would prove to be golden. The Romans had said that in the whole of the Romance island of California there was no metal but gold. Cortez, who did not find a pennyweight or dust in the real California, still had no objection to giving so golden a name to his discovery. Mr. Hale, with that brevity which becomes antiquarians, does not go into any of the details of the life and adventures of the Queen of California, as the Romans describes then. We propose in this paper to supply from it this reticency of his essay. The reader must understand that in this romance printed in 1510, 60 years or less after Constantinople really fell into the hands of the Turks, the author describes a pretended assault made upon it by the infidel powers, and the rallying for its rescue of Amadis Imperion and Lisuarte, and all the princes of chivalry, with whom the novel of Amadis of Gaul has dwelt. They succeed in driving away the pagans, as you shall hear, in the midst of this great crusade, every word of which, of course, is the most fictitious of fiction, appears the episodes which describe California and its queen. We continue in the book, His Level Best and Other Stories. I remember this was in the Harvard Library. And it says, now, at the time when those great men of the pagans sailed with their great fleets, as the history has told you, there reigned in this island of California a queen, very large in person, the most beautiful of all of them, of blooming years, and in her thoughts desirous of achieving great things, strong of limb and of great courage, more than any of those who had filled her throne before her. She heard tell that all the greater part of the world was moving in this onslaught against the Christians. She did not know what Christians were. She didn't know what Christians were, for she had no knowledge of any part of the world except in those which were close to her. But she decided to see the world, and it was various people. And thinking that with great strength at herself and her women she should have the greater part of their splendor, either from her rank or from her prowess, she began to talk with all of those who were most skilled in war, and told them that it would be well if, sailing in their great fleets, they also entered on this expedition, in which all these great princes and lords were embarking. She animated and excited them, showing them the great profits and honors which they would gain in this enterprise. Above all, the great fame which would be theirs in all the world. While if they stayed in their island doing nothing but what their grandmothers did, they were really buried alive. They were dead while they lived, passing their days without fame and without glory, as did the very brutes. Alright, so just want to point out something here. So it's, you know the story of Wonder Woman, right? The movie recently came out. You see, the Wonder Woman is an Amazonian, right? We're talking about the same people. We're talking about a mythical island, right? Same thing, all right? And we know that Wonder Woman wanted to go out and see the world. She didn't want to be stuck in the island, and her parents, right, didn't want her to leave. But like as it says here, Queen Kalifia, right, saying and kind of thinking the same thing. It says, well, if they stayed in their island doing nothing but what their grandmothers did, they were really buried alive. They were dead while they lived, passing their days without fame and without glory, as did the very brutes. Now the people of California were as willing then to embark in distant expeditions of honor as they are now. And the first battalion that ever sailed from the ports of that country was thus provided. So much did this mighty queen, Kalifia, say to her people that she not only moved them to consent to this enterprise, but they were so eager to extend their fame through other lands that they begged her to hasten to sea, so that they might earn all these honors in alliance with such great men. The queen, seeing the readiness of her subjects, without any delay gave order that her great fleet should be provided with food and with arms of all gold. More of everything than was needed. Then she commanded that her largest vessels should be prepared with gratings of the stoutest timber, and she bade place in it as many as 500 of these griffins, of which I tell you that from the time they were born, they were trained to feed on men. Alright, so we're gonna get more accounts of her and how, she went and helped the Turks. This is the preparation we're reading here, right? So we're not gonna get this in other books. So it's good to get this. She brought 500 griffins with her, so you get the whole, explanation of how she prepared to go on this journey, right? To leave her island of California, right? And she ordered that the beasts on which she and her people rode should be embarked, and all the best armed women of those most skilled in war, whom she had in her island, and then leaving such force in the island that it should be secure. With the others she went to sea, and they made such haste that they arrived at the fleets of the pagans the night after the battle of which I have told you, so that they were received with great joy. And the fleet was visited at once by many great lords, and they were welcomed with great acceptance. She wished to know at once in what condition affairs were, asking many questions, which they answered fully. Then she said, you have fought this city with your great forces, and you cannot take it. Now, if you are willing, I wish to try what my forces are worth tomorrow, if you will give orders accordingly. Alright, so she's saying, you guys have been trying to take over this so-called Christian Constantinople kingdom, right? So she's saying, how about you let me try tomorrow? Alright? All these great lords said that they would give such commands as she should bid them. Then send word to all your other captains that they shall tomorrow on no account leave their camps, they nor their people, until I command them, and you shall see combat more remarkable than you have ever seen of or heard of. Alright, you see how she... Alright. So yeah. Queen Kalifia, right? Alright, so we just got over with those 2 books. We're gonna have to get into like 3 more books, alright? Just keeps getting more interesting, so peace to the chat. Thanks for being here. Just want to ask everybody to please respect each other. We ain't here to debate, we're just here to all build and learn. This is not my info, I'm just reading books, it's not like I'm trying to say something, alright? But you can't just look at things one-sided, alright? You can't just come with your background and think you know, and I'm not saying I know it all. Nobody does. We're a student for life. I'm a student for life. So, we're learning. And all I ask for is respect. And, stop generalizing. You can't generalize a person identity on people, alright? If you feel you vibe with a certain thing, that's you. You know, with all respect. You know, we can't disagree on certain things, right? But, you know, me, I like to go with facts. I like to go with foundational truth, and not just with one little correlation, but with many, all right? So, you know, this is not my first video, so if you're new, you know, take the journey. Take the journey I've taken and you know, everybody else has with me, you know, because this is a journey, you know, as you can see, you know, you know, past videos, you know, I might have been confused with certain things, and we're still building, I'm still learning, all right, so we're going with it. So I just want to go ahead and get with the next video. All right, it's from the California Historical Society. Bear with me. All right, it's going to get pretty interesting. All right. Alright, so now we're going into this scholarly journal or magazine called the California Historical Society Quarterly. This is volume 28. This is from 1949. California Historical Society, San Francisco. Alright? Alright, so this is on page 23 of this quarterly journal. And again, it's California, a possible derivation of the name, by A.E. Sokol. And it begins. The question, how did California come by its name, seems to have been settled. But what the name itself means, or where it came from originally, remains unsolved. The following is offered as a conjecture, which upon further research may prove to contain a clue. On the other hand, it may be a coincidence and have no actual bearing on the subject. The generally accepted theory regarding the application of the name California is the one offered in 1862 by the Reverend Dr. Edward Everett Hale. According to this theory, the word occurred first in a Spanish novel, Las Sergas de Esplandian. Alright, I'm going to get into that. Written by Garcia Ordóñez de Montalvo as the fifth part of the then popular Portuguese romance Vasco de Lobeiras Amadis de Gaula. Alright, so this story that where the name California supposedly came from was actually a copy of an original so-called Portuguese romance named the Amadis de Gaula. Alright, so it's much older than that Spanish story, alright, which Montalvo had translated into Spanish. The story deals with an imaginary island in California. Alright, so before we continue, I just want to let you know that Las Sergas de Esplandian was, I believe, written in 1510. Alright, now, the story deals with an imaginary island called California, rich in pearls and gold, and peopled with black Amazons, whose queen was Kalifia, or Kalifia. Alright, again, so-called black Amazons, right? They're talking about, you know, copper-colored, dark-hued, dark-skinned Amazons, whose queen was Kalifia. Since the Amadi story was very popular at the beginning of the 16th century, it seems reasonable to suppose that it was known to the explorers of that time, and that it became the basis of a name given for one of the new discoveries, referring at first to Lower California, but gradually embracing the entire region now known as California. Alright, so that's the official story as how the name came about. Alright, now this explanation has not been challenged nor modified by additional findings in recent years, except that a brief and as yet unexplained reference to a country by the name of Califerne was found in the Chancel de Roland, a French Roman written possibly as early as 1066. Okay, so you see, this is actually, because I had read this before, this is the one I was talking about. So it was referenced in a French writing, or so-called romance. Alright, we're gonna dig into what that really means, romance. Alright, so you see how far back it actually goes. To Califerne, a land, a country named Califerne. Come on, The origin of the name in a native Indian word or any combination of Latin or Greek roots has not proved acceptable. Montalvo's explandient is thus generally taken as the source that California, variously spelled, was current during the Middle Ages and must have occurred in many early manuscripts, seems to have escaped the attention. Right? Authors are letting you know of this journal that is, they're giving the credit to this play, the Spanish play called Esplandian. The Middle Ages. That's what he's letting you know. It was written in many other manuscripts, early manuscripts. All right, we just got an example. 1066 AD, imagine. All right. The writer first came across a word suggesting the name of California in the German law book. There, Sachsenspiegel, probably written by Eike von Rebgoch, about 1230 AD. In modern German, the passage reads, all right, and I'm giving you the German translation or the original passage from, the book, the law book. In English, it says here, translated into English, the sentence runs somewhat like...
I'm finna go, y'all.
Now known as California. Alright? So that's the official story as how the name came about. Alright? Now, this explanation has not been challenged nor modified by additional findings in recent years, except that a brief and as yet unexplained reference to a country by the name of Califerne was found in the Chansol de Roland, a French Roman written possibly as early as 1066. Okay, so you see, this is actually, because I had read this before, this is the one I was talking about. So it was referenced in a French writing, or so-called romance. Alright, we're gonna dig into what that really means, romance. Alright, so you see how far back it actually goes. To Califerne, a land, a country named Califerne. Come on. The origin of the name in a native Indian word or any combination of Latin or Greek roots has not proved acceptable. Montalvo's explandient is thus generally taken as the source that California, variously spelled, was current during the Middle Ages and must have occurred in many early manuscripts, seems to have escaped the attention. Right? Authors are letting you know of this journal that is, they're giving the credit to this play, the Spanish play called Esplandian. The Middle Ages. That's what he's letting you know. It was written in many other manuscripts, early manuscripts. All right, we just got an example on 1066 AD. Imagine. All right. The writer first came across a word suggesting the name of California in the German law book. There, Sachsenspiegel, probably written by Eike von Rebgoch, about 1230 AD. In modern German, the passage reads, all right, and I'm giving you...
What did they say?
The German translation or the original passage from,
Damn.
the book, the law book.
In
English, it says here, translated into English, the sentence runs somewhat like this. No woman may be an advocate nor plead a cause before the court without a guardian. This privilege was lost for all women by California, who misbehaved before court, being angry because she could not get her will without an advocate. Whoa. So wait a minute, what are they saying? What is this law book from 1230 AD is saying, Germany? What is it saying? This ain't no romance. I thought we were just talking about romances, right? It actually writes California. You can see the German translation says California too. Alright, California. Alright, and it's talking about a woman who was misbehaving in the court. So she made all the women lose their rights to be able to plea or advocate without a guardian. Wow. Alright, so this California must have created some chaos, huh? This Kalifia. Alright. The Sachsenspiegel. Alright. Sachsenspiegel is a compilation of law as practiced and recognized in the then Saxon part of Germany. Because of the charity of its language and its precision of expression, it quickly became popular in Germany. Not only was it copied in numerous manuscripts and became the forefather of other German law books, such as Duschenspiegel, Spiegeldeutscher Duluth, and the Schwarzschwemmspiegel, but also was translated into Latin, French, and several Slavic languages.
Romans spoke Latin.
Altogether, several hundred manuscripts exist of these various related medieval works, whose influence is said to have extended even to Sicily, under the rule of Emperor Frederick II, who was also king of that island, and possibly as far as Spain. At one time, some doubt existed among scholars as to the priority of these three principal German law books, but it seems established now that Sachsenspiegel is the earliest, while the Schwarzschwemmspiegel dates from about 50 years later, with Duschenspiegel acting as the connecting link. Alright, so I know these are funny sounding, words and
John, we'll get some more of this goddamn later on. I'll run the rest of this shit probably tonight or something. I'm gonna get up out this bitch. Who will know? Bet Kiki's in that bitch. Kiki's in that bitch. Somebody in that bitch, though. Straight up, as real as it gets. You feel me every time I spit. Straight up. As real as it gets. You feel me every time I spit. You ain't about that life, nigga, straight up. Man, this shit ridiculous. Man, this shit ridiculous. Man, this shit ridiculous. Man,
hey, Alabama, there are exciting things happening at your local CVS. Shop the Epic Beauty Sale with Extra Care and earn over $100 extra bucks rewards through Saturday. Stock up now on beauty and personal care products for spring and summer. Extra Care is the way to save at CVS. Join for free online or in-store and start saving. Visit your local CVS store or cvs.com/Epic Beauty to see this week's deals.
Green screen on.
Welcome to the Chevy Lightning Round. Guess the clues to win. First team, you're up.
Powerful, commanding, unstoppable.
Silverado.
Good morning to you, nigga.
Adventurous, fun, peppy,
Trailblazer.
stylish, nimble,
Good
innovative,
morning
electric.
to you,
Points
nigga.
are easy. Lightning Round champion. You guessed all the right Chevy clues. Wherever the year takes you, explore it together in the Chevy of
I
your
go
choice.
through all this
Click to
get
learn
my
more.
shit, man.
Chevrolet.
I
Together,
don't
let's
want
drive.
shit no more. I don't want to hear that chop shit. Okay. Yeah.
That shit, hey, no, let's drop GM shit again, nigga. Buy me 100 choppers, buy me 100 choppers, buy me 100 choppers, buy me 100 choppers. This helicopter, bought me 100 choppers that came with 200 clips. I bet I get caught up, cause my name ain't Phil. I bitch on the corner, that means I can't slip. I'm skinny and jeans, boy, you took it and on hip. Oh, this ain't your Louis.
Let's get it.
Put you in the wrong zip. You say I be tripping. We call it the biggest trip. On tight up this rap game.
You can call it the fight
My
drill.
t-shirt said fuck the cops. They work something here.
Fuck. Good punch. So pop on. Let's get it. Yeah. Swag. Let's get it. Let's get it. Swag. Oh, the truth don't need no help, man. Them folks got them rank stores on both sides of this motherfucker. Ain't no top and no bottom. We gonna do it like left and right. We gonna say Africa's on the right side and America's on the left side. But South America is what they call the Western world. So they're coming to paradise. They still go to South America. Cause that's where it's at, man. The good land. Huh? The red, they showed it with a real Red Sea at in California. They emulated both of these stores. The Europeans on the right side and the Brits on the left side did the same thing when they came in upon Negus. They got the most dangerous, greatest history in the motherfucking world. You niggas still sleep playing games with these folk in your life. Y'all niggas crazy. I be happy every day because I know I don't walk to this shit. So I just swag through this bitch. The truth don't need no help, my nigga. It ain't gonna bend, break, nor fold. All we gotta do is support the truth, stand up behind the truth, and we as a people can get together and make it do what it do. So till I come back, y'all keep your thing motherfucking flat. I said boom.